Yeah.
Good morning, faculty and staff of the College of Health and Human Services. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome back to campus. We appreciate you participating in our College of Health and Human Services opening meeting. I'm John Tony Oliver. I'm serving as the Associate Dean here in the college, and it's my privilege to conduct a meeting this morning. Unfortunately, we're having video technical difficulties, and so throughout this meeting, we will hear from a variety of our colleagues, but we won't necessarily see those colleagues via video. I wanted to welcome any new faculty and staff in particular. I wanted to welcome any of our new deans across campus, as well as any new vice presidents as well. It's great to be around campus and see the students back, and just the energy that comes with students being here on campus. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce our EIU president, David Glassman. It's hard to believe that President Glassman is starting his 6th year. Blink a few times and the years just go by, but I've always appreciated President Glassman's optimism and advocacy for EIU during some challenging times in the past, but he certainly helped us stay focused on now and into the future. And so President Glassman, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I'm going to turn the time over to you.
Thank you, Tony. Much appreciated. And I hope everybody can hear me. If not, I'm sure I'll get a signal from somebody very, very soon. But I certainly do welcome everybody back. I want to thank Dean Ersin and our department chairs who have worked throughout the summer, trying to prepare us for this most unusual fall semester. And of course, welcome back all of the college's faculty members. As Tony mentioned, this is going to be it's an exciting semester, no doubt, but it's one that will be very, very different from any other fall semesters that we've had thus far. The COVID pandemic is still out there and in full force, and in some areas it's even gaining steam. And of course, in the state of Illinois, cases have been moving up since the state went into phase 4. The administration, in collaboration with faculty, staff across the entire university, have been working diligently the entire summer preparing for the return of students and making sure that health and safety are premier to assist with our faculty, our staff, our students, our visitors on campus. Numerous hours went into the return to campus plan, getting the resources that were necessary through the supply chain, and making sure that we are executing the initiatives that we have developed to be in place. But it will be a different kind of fall. Some of you will be working in person with your classes, with your students. Some will be working hybrid. Some will be working totally remote. I mean, this is different than it has been in the past, but we're going to do it with the same mindset and with the same strategy and the same mission that we've always had at EIU. And that is a focus on student success, a focus on engagement of our students, and to help them and motivate them and provide them with the confidence to succeed regardless the modality that we are going to be using in our learning platforms. Also, this semester is different because we have to remain extremely flexible and adaptable. As the environment changes with the COVID pandemic, we may have to make changes ourselves along the way. We're monitoring what's taking place nationally, statewide, within our region, and within our local communities to monitor and to see what changes may be necessary as we move forward with the semester. There are many rock stars that are in your college, but there's one that I want to give a shout out today, because this faculty member has been instrumental in assisting us in helping to reopen this fall. I'm referring to Dr. Sheila Simons. Her knowledge of epidemiology, her willingness to help with contact tracing, her coordination between EIU and the Coles County Health Department have been incredible, simply awesome. I can't thank Sheila enough for all of the work that she's done in order to help us. This is also true for the students that she has recruited to be contact tracers for the university, and everybody else across the campus, staff, faculty, and the administration, in preparing us for what we are trying to do, and that is to have a productive and successful semester. Tony mentioned that I'm always optimistic, and I am. I'm optimistic for the semester, but I'm also realistic. And the realism is, again, being adaptable and being flexible to the changing environment. I also want to empower our faculty. When our faculty are in class for any in-person classes that they may have, you are empowered not to allow anybody in your class that isn't wearing a mask or isn't practicing social distancing. We've spent this summer reorganizing the classrooms. Many classrooms aren't going to be used during this semester, and others are, and they have been placed and reorganized for social distancing. We need you to control that and empower you to keep students wearing their masks and wearing them appropriately. That is, above the nose and down below the chin. If a student comes to your classroom and does not have a mask on, we are going to have masks available in every academic department for faculty to have a few masks to bring them to class, to give that student a mask. If you do not have a mask available to you, we have masks available over at the bookstore. We have masks available at the student health center, at the rec center, across campus, and we can provide that information to you. Just have them go and get a mask. We also empower our faculty and everybody on our campus that if you're walking around and not seeing a student, faculty member, staff member, administrator not wearing their mask and not wearing it appropriately, please suggest to them that they do so. As Sheila will tell us, as well as the health departments and the health agencies across the country, that social distancing and wearing masks appropriately is the key to successfully navigating this pandemic. We have strict policies in place, and everybody has the right to indicate to others that they must follow these policies. The last couple of days, our students have been repopulating our residence halls. They are extremely excited. Their parents are excited. They understand the risks. They also know their responsibilities. And we are going to continue to remind them with that messaging throughout the entire semester that students are on our campus. I want to welcome you again and obviously wish you well for an incredible semester. It is going to be the semester of the mask. We're all going to be wearing them. But at the same time, I go back to one principle, one foundation, and that is the mission of EIU, to do our very best, no matter what the circumstances are, to provide our students with whatever learning environment we are able to use or utilize, to give them the maximum attention, our accessibility, the individualized attention that we're known for, and a rigorous and quality education. Thanks to everybody in the College of Health and Human Services. I hope you have a great year. As always, I am accessible to you, either in person, by text, by email. If you have any questions, suggestions, never hesitate to reach out to me. Tony, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and I hope that the meeting is a wonderful start to a wonderful semester. Thank you, everyone, and welcome back.
Thank you, President Glassman. We appreciate your encouragement and discussing those important points with us about the way campus will operate this fall. It's my pleasure now to introduce Provost Jay Gatrell, and it's hard to believe, but this is Provost Gatrell's 4th year, and we are thankful for all of his energy and enthusiasm as he joined Eastern at a time of revitalization and restructuring. We appreciate the support we feel from Provost Gatrell here in the College of Health and Human Services. Jay, thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you, Tony, and I want to thank the Dean for the invitation. These are always wonderful events and opportunities to sort of celebrate the fall opening. I find increasingly, though, every time I follow the president, I have very little to say. So, because you said all of was sort of on my list, but I do want to focus on something that I think is uniquely important to the College of Health and Human Services. Your college and your programs are uniquely care-centered. Your programs and disciplines and professions focus around care for others. When I look at the individual departments, whether it's human services, kinesiology, sport and recreation, public health, the new Lumpkin School of Nursing, communication disorders and sciences, nutrition and dietetics, as well as your outreach programs such as the CDS clinic, STEP, and childcare resources and referrals. Those programs, those initiatives focus on caring for one another and creating infrastructures to support social services and our broader citizens and colleagues and community members. So the work you do is more important today in many respects in an era of the pandemic. The visibility of your professions, the visibility of your work is heightened, and it's an opportunity for us to sort of celebrate the good work you all are doing in training future healthcare workers as well as social service professionals, as well as an opportunity for us to sort of pause and acknowledge the hard work you've done for many, many years in serving our students as well as our community, region, and state. Well, as I said, David said a lot of what I was going to say, but I do want to put a shout out to the associate deans and all the deans, whether it's Dean Ersin or Tony or the deans in Austin Cheney, our new dean Barbara Bonnekessen, or Loretta Henderson, Dean Hendrickson. All the deans and associate deans have been active throughout the entire semester, really in hands-on, making sure we're ready for the fall. That means socially distancing and physically distancing the rooms. The amount of work that the associate deans have put in to make sure our rooms were prepared for the fall truly was amazing. And I know, that work of the associate deans is sometimes sort of hidden, but I really believe, what they've done this summer has been amazing. And from my perspective, it's been especially appreciated. And then finally, I do want to close by acknowledging Sheila Simons and the entire public health department. When I emailed the dean and Julie Dietz this summer to say we might have an opportunity to partner with the Coles County Health Department, both of them said, sure, we're going to do it. We're going to deliver. And within about a week, we went from 0 to 60. And Sheila and her students have been amazing and really been the backbone of our sort of institutional response and provided us with critical information and critical context to understand how we can have a safer fall and protect our entire Panther community. So with that, welcome back. Have a great year. And I look forward to hearing from the departments and the dean about what's ahead for the College of Health and Human Services. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Jay, for your words of encouragement and support as we start this new academic year. At this point, it's my pleasure to introduce Dean Ozlem Ersin, who is entering her 2nd year as Dean of the College of Health and Human Services. And as both she and I started on the job in July of last year, I can attest that it's been a bit of a blur of a year. Lots to do, many late nights, but it's been an exciting year as we've built upon the work that was previously completed by Dr. Jeannie Lord and Dr. Jake Emmett. The establishing of a School of Nursing this past year has been a privilege to be a part of, as well as other worthwhile initiatives. And so, Dean Ersin, I turn it over to you.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Oliver. Allow me to begin by thanking President Glassman and Dr. Gatrell for joining us this morning. I thank them truly for their words of encouragement and support. You yourselves haven't, to my knowledge, taken any kind of meaningful time off, so we appreciate that. We appreciate your tireless efforts to keep us on the right course as an institution. I thank also colleagues from across campus who have accepted our invitation for this virtual event, which include fellow deans, Dr. Cheney, Austin Cheney, Zach Newell, Richard England, Ryan Hendrickson, and members of the Provost Advisory Group, Dr. Mona Davenport, Josh Norman, Newton Key, various colleagues and chairs from outside CHHS, and members of the President's Council. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your support. And as you could probably tell from the many invitations for this event that you received over the last few days, we really wanted to have you with us. So thank you. Thank you very much. On that note of technology, I would also like to thank Philip Kuzma, our colleague from ITS, who's held our hand through the summer as we forge new and unplanned paths into virtual events, and is today behind the scenes again helping us produce this live event. So thank you, Philip, for your patience and kindness. We truly couldn't do this without you, literally. And a very special note of welcome, I'd like to recognize Dr. Jeannie Ludlow, Professor of English and Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies, and of course, President of the EIU chapter of the UPI Academic Union. Welcome, Dr. Ludlow. Later on this event, our chair and director colleagues will introduce new faces in their areas. Allow me then, as we did last year at our first opening meeting, which was face-to-face, to take a moment to recognize some of our new colleagues outside the CHHS umbrella. To that end, let me first recognize Lynette Drake, who has retired earlier this summer, and Paul McCann. Thank you both for your good counsel and your friendship. Dr. Ann Flaherty, our new Vice President of Student Affairs, is with us this morning. I'm hoping, although I cannot see attendees list, as well as Mr. Sean Reeder, our new VP of Business Affairs. Both of you, welcome. We look forward to our good work together, continuing good work together into the future. This last summer has seen more retirements of tremendously valued colleagues. I'd like to recognize Doug Bauer, retired Dean of the College of Education, and Dr. Anita Shelton, retired Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. They have been dedicated, ethical, tireless advocates for our mission as a regional public institution of higher education. Thank you for being such good friends of CHHS. And on a personal note, for making my first year at EIU such a joyful, truly joyful experience of collaboration. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Anita. And I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge the members of our Dean's Office, Dr. Tony Oliver, Ms. Michelle Morgan, Ms. Janet Fope, for all they've done during the year to help me acclimate to my new role and this new culture, new environment, as well as for putting this event together. You are literally my rocks. Thank you. Last but certainly not least, I would like to welcome two new colleagues and my sisters in arms, Dr. Barbara Bonacasson, Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and Dr. Loretta Henderson, Dean of the College of Education. Again, we are blessed to have you and so lucky to have you with us. And apologies in advance to any colleagues who I failed to acknowledge for their presence today, as the technology does not allow me to see anyone. For all I know, I'm having this morning a lovely chat with Tony and Philip, but who knows, maybe there are others online as well. As I've been observing our responses in K-12 education in the US within the specific context of the pandemic and the subsequent mobilization around racial justice, I can't help but view these collection of events through my disciplinary grounding in public health, and specifically through occupational health and safety, my academic area of specialization. As I read daily reports and watch press briefings, I've been struck over and over with the abundance of bewildered statements along the lines of, "This is all unprecedented." Let me be the one to remind us all, if a reminder is indeed what is needed, that unfortunately, neither pandemics nor social injustice, be it based on race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, national origin, lacks precedent. Pandemics do not lack precedent. Social injustice does not lack precedent. Unfortunately, our collective inability as a species to learn from the lessons of history does not lack precedent. Pandemics are not new, nor will this be the last of it. The pandemic of social injustice is not new, nor is the summer of 2020 somehow the end. Summer of 2020 is not a magical collective awakening that we seem to make of it to the wrongs that have for centuries, no, for millennia, have been borne by the most vulnerable among us: children, elders, women, animals, plants and trees, entire species. Anyone and anything attempting to survive and thrive in a time or space that refuses to acknowledge their inalienable rights to exist, to freedom, to the benefit of justice, peace, food, shelter, love, survival. Pandemic of a virus, pandemic of injustice, whether of human origin or natural, pandemics are not new. With the benefit of the scientific study of pandemics, here's what we do know about them and their aftermath. Pandemics are disruptive to our sense of routine, to justice, to well-being, fundamental conditions of human thriving. We are all survivors of pandemics. Whether we get struck down by a virus or not, whether we experience directly the heinous nature of injustices or not, we all have been suffering from pandemics, which are known to correlate with elevated levels of depression, post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, and anxiety. This long-known, long-studied phenomenon is indeed part of the reason for the disproportional prevalence of heart disease and other stress-related morbidities among racially minoritized groups, including African Americans and Hispanics. Indeed, in the aftermath of the last global pandemic, barely a decade ago, which we seem to have already forgotten about, there were marked increases in occupation-related deaths by suicide. As your dean in your professional roles, and through this lens of public health and occupational health and safety in particular, if I were to summarize my message to you this morning in one phrase, it would be, let's be good to ourselves, individually and collectively. We are all but single members of a fragile species whose survival depends in unsurprising ways on the survival of our fellow humans and the other elements of our ecosystem. If the discipline of public health teaches us anything, it is to take individual responsibility, yes, but also to not let ourselves buy hook, line, and sinker into the damaging and unhealthful political rhetoric of individualism. We live, we thrive, we suffer, and die together as a species. Let us not squander away the precious little spark lit in the summer of 2020 to recommit ourselves to acts of hope and fellowship. The act of teaching is an act of hope. A genuine compliment is an act of hope. Asking questions is an act of hope. The big news for our college is, of course, our new Gail and Richard Lumpkin School of Nursing, another act of hope, if you will, which Dr. Holly Farley will be telling us about. public acknowledgement is again in order for the tireless work of our colleagues in nursing over the summer, of course, and for the Lumpkin family for their gift of support and hope, for our colleagues in advancement for continuing to get the word out to potential donors, and of course, President Glassman and Dr. Gatrell for their leadership. But let me be clear, the big news is not the big things such as a new school, but the million small things on a daily basis that add up. It's the gumption displayed by our colleagues who feel ostracized but choose to show up every single day anyway. It is the empathy of the person who makes others' suffering their own. It's the moral compass of the leader among us who lead by the example of their daily actions. It's the smile of the learner after an aha moment. The big news is all those and more. In a moment, I will turn the screen over to the administrative leadership team of your college to share some of these and more. But before I do that, let me take this opportunity to remind us of the magnitude of the opportunity ahead of us as an institution priding itself as a bastion of liberal arts, and specifically, as the provost indicated, as a College of Health and Human Services. We are in an era of both unintentional and deliberate misinformation related to health and well-being, unintentional and deliberate at the same time. The Department of Health and Human Services defines health literacy as, and I quote, the degree to which individuals have the capacity to obtain, process, and understand basic health information and services needed to make appropriate health decisions, unquote. Yet, as we act as if fundamental concepts like social distancing are new as of 2020. For evidence, one need not look any further than the NIOSH publications dating back from 2002-2003. For reference, NIOSH is the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. NIOSH is to occupational health and safety what the NIH might be to medicine. In the aftermath of the last pandemic, NIOSH reminded us of the importance of institutional efforts to prepare for pandemics and offered elaborate discussions of PPEs, social distancing, and other preventive health behaviors. Yet, we know from decades of scientific research that our population, including the most educated among us, lack basic health literacy skills and is aware of guidance even from a decade ago. As we imagine the next phase of higher education post this particular pandemic, it falls on our shoulders collectively as an institution and specifically as the College of Health and Human Services to advocate for the inclusion of health and digital literacy as fundamental learning outcomes and competencies of college-educated adults on par with communication skills, numeracy, civic engagement, and global citizenship. I had ended my first Dean's address last year with the invitation for us to break bread, and we had gone over to Clem to do just that. For obvious reasons, that's not to happen this year. But I encourage you to double down on your efforts and look for excuses to connect, to relate, to get to know each other, to assume the best of each other. We are a college, not simply a collection of departments and units. Our full potential to thrive depends on our absolute unity and ability to work together as a team. I'd like to end my address again with appreciation for the care and concern for occupational health and safety that has been demonstrated by President Glassman, Dr. Gatrell, Dr. Jeannie Ludlow, and the members of the senior leadership team. I personally would like to urge them to practice the same kind of self-care that I'm urging all of us to partake in and to take the time to rest and regroup. We need you, and we need you to be well and healthy. I'd like to express my gratitude to the collective importance placed on diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus, as we will later hear on our meeting from Dr. Jeff Stowell. Let's be good to ourselves. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Misty Edwards, who's going to kick off our list of updates from units across the college.
Thank you, Dean Ersin, for all the words of wisdom, and thank you for the invitation to speak. It's been a very busy 6 months for child care resource and referral staff. While COVID-19 sent many people home unable to work, my staff has been implementing emergency changes to child care assistance program, policies, and funding opportunities for child care providers. They definitely rose to the occasion, flawlessly implementing all emergency changes. These changes were able to help many of the frontline workers with much needed child care assistance, and for the child care providers with much needed funding relief. Let me also add that we welcomed a new staff member, Marissa Alexander, 1 week before we had the stay-at-home order. She came into this very new to everything, did not know the job she was stepping into, and was able to learn the emergency referral services that DHS had implemented. She is now stepping back into the office and trying to figure out what normal looks like, as we all are trying to figure out what the new normal will be. So moving into FY21, the state is trying to work very slowly to return to normal policies and procedures. However, COVID-19 changes seem to be making that a little more challenging than what we first thought would be for fall. Whatever happens, I know that the CCRR and our staff will be ready daily, weekly, monthly to implement changes, as DHS seems to throw stuff at us pretty quickly. In the last couple of months, we had 2 grant opportunities providing gift cards to families on our assistance program. We had to choose and kind of did a lottery to be able to help these families. The gift cards were $500 on the first round, $250 on the second round, and we were able to help 20 families in our service delivery area. We also, for FY21, received a $32,000 increase for our budget. This was for training purposes. This will allow us to be better prepared for the current and changing training landscape. As we all know, it's definitely moving more towards the online rather than face-to-face. We were able to hire 1 GA this year. His name is Grayson Goff. He'll be starting his position at the very beginning of September. So we're really excited to, again, add a little normalcy back to our office. Lastly, through all the changes that have been taking place, we moved locations. So during all the craziness, we definitely were also trying to figure out how to pick up, move, and still keep our jobs going. We're now located on the 3rd floor of 9th Street Hall. It's been a challenge, but and definitely there's still a lot to do. But everyone is settling in and loving the new layout of their different workspaces. I don't know, we're just really excited for the new year to begin, to see what the new normal is, and kind of ready for that challenge. Anybody that's on campus that happens to be over by 9th Street is more than welcome to come over and check out the new office space. Just make sure to not forget your mask, because we will ask you not to come in if you don't have your mask. And thank you for the opportunity to share some of these happenings with the CCRR, and check our Facebook page, check our website, because we will be adding any of the new changes as they occur. So thank you again. I will now turn it over to Dr. Mulvey.
Dr. Mulvey, I think you're muted.
Dr. Mulvey, if you can hear me, you might be muted. We'll go ahead and give her a chance to troubleshoot. Let's go ahead and move on to Dr. Mikki Sherwood of Human Services and Community Leadership.
Hi, everybody. Good to see everybody or hear everybody. We have had a couple, we have one retirement. So Dr. Frances Murphy, you probably know her. She both taught for us. She was grad coordinator. And most importantly to me, she was in our child development lab and then our child and family life education center. She was with some of our children, actually. I know Tony's children were in the lab, and mine were, my nieces were. We're all very excited about our lab. And as it's transferred over from a child development lab to a family life education center, we've introduced lifespan, information across the lifespan. We're now working on the class, our child development class, and putting it remotely. So we're going to be off and on in the lab. Their children won't be with us, of course, but we're excited about remote programming. We feel that students need to have different skills than they did a year ago or even 8 months ago. So we're focusing a lot on how to provide remote services to people that need welfare or human services help. So as Francis has left, Dr. Jill Bowers is going to take over as our grad coordinator. So that's our new position. She's also served as internship coordinator for the last year or so. Finally, we're really excited because we're developing more partnerships. So CASA, the Court Appointed Special Advocate Program, we've had a conversation with them, or I'm sorry, a relationship with them for about a year, and we're ramping that up. We help with their mandatory trainings of court advocates, and our students participate in that as well. And just in the last week or so, I've solidified our relationship with the early childhood program at Lakeland College. So we're excited about that. We rolled out our new early childhood program administration minor this fall. We already have students that are interested, so we're excited about that, and then working with Lakeland amps that up a little bit. So that's my update. I'm excited about school starting. Welcome to everybody, and thanks for allowing me to give an update. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to the next person. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Kattenbraker.
Hi, thanks, Mikki. Good morning, everybody. I'll be relatively brief here, just a few announcements and a little bit of praise for some of the humans in our department. We're excited particularly about tomorrow with Prowl. We've got approximately 100 new students on tap to come and visit with our faculty. We'll have them scattered throughout the building in Lance, so we're excited about that. I am very pleased that my faculty remain largely committed to face-to-face instruction. We are a very applied program across all disciplines over here in Lance and KSR, so I'm excited to hear my faculty say, I want to see my students and I want them in the building. That's very encouraging. I welcome aboard a new adjunct this year, Tanner Crumwetty. He's filling in for one of my faculty members, Ashley Gard, who is out for the semester, and I'll just go ahead and mention why. She's excited to welcome a baby girl into her family of all boys, so we're happy for her. She's going to enjoy some time off. I want to give a shout out to the directors of our adult fitness program, Stacy Ruhal, Miranda Shalio, and Josh Stice. At least in the latter half of this summer hiatus, they kept engaged with community members. This is a very community-facing program where they literally are changing the health and well-being of members of our community and faculty and staff on this campus through the adult fitness program. And they did that via Facebook Live workout sessions, individual one-on-ones virtually, YouTube channels. So they did a great job along with their GAs to keep that program strong. So I'm thankful for that. I do want to recognize a retiree this calendar year. That was back in January. That was Dr. Nancy Crone, rather. She was our staff advisor for exercise science and sport management. She was a cornerstone in this department, keeping students on track and matriculating through their programs. So I wish her well in retirement. While I am excited to announce that we've hired Ms. Bethany Hellman, now just recently married. Maiden name was Bethany McGinnis. So if there's any advisors on the call, you may have interacted with her. She is she's been doing fantastic. I'm so glad to have her on board. Dr. Jake Emmett, this will be his last academic year. He'll be retiring next August. So I know he's excited and I'm happy for him. But it's time to go. The energy is back. The students are starting to show up as I look out my window, and the faculty are coming in and out. Is very exciting for me. That's what I love about my job, the people that I'm surrounded with, and I'm thankful for that every day. And I do my best to take care of them. So welcome back, and hope to see you all around campus. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to what should be Major Enrique Loy, I believe. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Major Sandis Sullivan. I'll be speaking on behalf of military science, while Major Loy is currently going through personal appointments and physical therapy due to surgery over this past summer. Good morning again. Major Sandis Sullivan. I currently serve as the Military Science Department's assistant professor. If for those who I have not met already, I also serve as the deputy chair of the department. EIU Army ROTC had the pleasure of commissioning 10 of our cadets this past summer, meeting our, I'm proud to say, meeting our overall mission requirement for the first time in the 3 years that I've been with the program. So we, though we, you know, we're grateful for achieving this this milestone. We're not going to rest on our laurels. We'll continue to push forward and continue to press towards the mark of a higher goal, which is 13 to 15 this next summer. Of those 10 cadets that did commission with us, 3 were given the national distinction of Distinguished Honor Grad. This is only this is an accolade that is only given to the cadets in the top 10% of all the cadets across the nation. So we take pride in that. Over the last 3 years, we've had the pleasure of having 9 total. So for each year, we've roughly had 3 on average with that distinction. Though our senior cadets were not given the opportunity to compete at the national level amongst their peers at Cadet Summer Training in Fort Knox, Kentucky this summer, we did conduct local training amongst 7 other Illinois universities within our regional area. Just 2 weeks ago, on the 2nd of August, roughly, EIU Army ROTC participated in Cadet Command's alternative training event, appropriately named Operation Agile Leader. This training was conducted amongst 200 cadets across those 7 Illinois universities. Where we conducted it at Camp Atterbury, Indiana. We did it safely, securely. We had stringent checks via medics. We had the appropriate backstops in place with the local hospital in close proximity to Indiana, and we know that we can press forward this semester with conducting that physical training safely and securely as we had over the last 10-day period. Of those 9 cadets that we did take, 7 of those senior cadets were able to complete what is a commissioning requirement. And so with that summer training, they were able to complete what Cadet Command requires of them. Out of the 9 cadets that we did take this summer training, 3 in attendance received 14 of 18 camp accolades. So we, once again, we're a small program in size, but we do pack a mighty punch, and we thank you all, fellow instructors and professors, and what you do for our students. And we just look forward to the opportunities, and I'm forever optimistic that though this semester brings challenges, we welcome our students' energy as they make their way back to campus. This semester will be filled with challenges of limited training opportunities and contact with our students, but it will also give our students and our cadre the opportunity to lead during these unusual times, to think creatively, and to operate outside of our normal comfort zones. So the Army is a big proponent of leadership and resiliency and, physical presence. And so we would just continue to promote and push our cadets within the limits and the boundaries of what's presented before us today. Once again, we just look forward to the opportunity, and thank you for having us as part of this opening meeting. I thank you again.
Hello, everybody. It's Holly Farley. Thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of this meeting. I was asked to discuss briefly what's new in nursing, but really what's not new in nursing. Honestly, we have so many exciting big things going on. This past year, we've had the creation of the new Gail and Richard Lumpkin School of Nursing, and the creation of a new on-campus traditional 4-year program for EIU students, and an all-new multifunctional simulation lab that we can use in nursing and interprofessional education for the whole college and across the university. So that's very, very exciting for us. We are so thankful for the opportunity to be able to offer this to students on Eastern's campus and to our community and our region, and it's just so needed. I can't thank Dr. Sue Gussie and Dr. Renee Kidd-Marshall enough, because they stepped up, they went above and beyond, they worked outside of their contract, and they just can't be commended enough for their vast experience and knowledge that helped all of this come to fruition. Also not new, but our RN to BSN program has just really grown exponentially in the last year, and so we still have a strong presence for that program, and that's exciting as well. In the spring, we hope to have a small class of new students start in the nursing program. They were already students here at EIU that had their prerequisites completed, and we're looking very forward to that. Also, the pre-nursing students have increased in numbers, so that is promising. And we also have lots of new staff and faculty coming on. So we really have changed a lot in nursing. We're all still in 9th Street Hall now. Our new administrative assistant is Bradley Green, and Brad is not new to EIU. He's a 20-year veteran, and he comes to us with much experience. We're thrilled to have him with us. His skills and knowledge have proven to be invaluable, and we're just very excited about that. Others that are coming to us that started this week, we have new faculty. First, we have a clinical coordinator, advisor, and assistant professor, Dr. J.C. Gast. She comes to us from Olney Central College, where she taught for 8 years, but she also has taught nursing assistants, phlebotomy. She has 12 years of experience with emergency and medical nursing, and extensive experience with clinical coordination and implementation of nursing software and technology. So welcome, JC. Next is Assistant Professor Richard Clapp. Dr. Richard Clapp is also an advanced practice registered nurse. He has taught previously at Lakeview and St. Mary of the Woods College. He also still practices as a nurse practitioner in Indiana and at Sarah Bush. He has lots of years of nursing experience in emergency and medical nursing, and he has also bringing us several years of experience in teaching. But also, Dr. Clapp is a lieutenant commander in the United States Navy Nurse Corps, and he recently completed a 2-month deployment to New York to work with critically ill COVID-19 patients. So thank you so much, Dr. Clapp, for your service. Also, we are getting a simulated learning coordinator, and Amy Predis comes to us from Carl Foundation Hospital, where she coordinated the simulation scenarios for that organization. So we are very lucky to have her on board. She has been a registered nurse for many years in emergency medical and behavioral health nursing, and she also comes with teaching experience from Lakeview College of Nursing, Parkland College, and Heartland Community College. So our new faculty is very experienced and really excited and ready to go to teach new students. So welcome to all of our new faculty and staff. We, again, are all at 9th Street, so come and visit. see our lab, talk to us if you have students that are interested in our program. We love to talk about nursing over here, so please send them our way. Thank you for letting me talk. It's very exciting to be back on campus. Seeing the students and hearing the band play is just makes me so happy. So I hope everyone has a good semester. Next is Dr. Tony Oliver.
It's my pleasure to speak briefly about nutrition and dietetics. First off, our national accreditation status has been maintained for both of our programs, which we are very pleased about. We have a new undergraduate program coordinator, Ms. Bethany Gill, so all inquiries and questions relevant to our undergraduate program, please reach out to Bethany. We were pleased that Dr. Melanie Burns was awarded a sabbatical during fall 2020. We also appreciate Dr. Crystal Lynch stepping into the graduate coordinator role and serving as an acting graduate coordinator during the fall 2020 semester. Another piece of very positive news is the awarding of a $30,000 external grant to combat hunger in Eastern Illinois, and this grant proposal was co-authored by Dr. Crystal Lynch and Miss Melissa Malding. So we're excited about the new semester, and we look forward to working with you. I'm going to turn the time over to Dr. Julie Dietz of Public Health.
Good morning, everyone. Lots of exciting things happening. We're in the middle of a pandemic, which is challenging, but we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're public health professionals, so lots of opportunities as well. I'm going to hit a few highlights. Jennifer Cannon is reviving the Minority Student Health Group along with help from Dr. Mona Davenport's office, and also looking forward to collaborating with the School of Nursing as they revive the Minority Student Nurse Association RSO as well. Megan Kottner is our new recruitment coordinator for the department, and over the summer she's been wearing her other professional hat as a licensed registered occupational therapist and filling in and helping cover shifts at Sarah Bush and other local agencies as needed if some of their staff were out on quarantine. Dr. DeRuiter Willems, Lori, is very busy, and her scholarship output for next year ought to be something else with all of the collaborative interdisciplinary efforts that she's working on. One of the things she's excited about is the Community Wellness Collaborative, which is a combined effort with Sarah Bush Lincoln and faculty from the Sociology, Nutrition and Dietetics, and our department. And she's also working on a collaborative effort with the Illinois Public Health Association. Amanda Harvey has finished her first year as our academic advisor, but her busyness this summer is introducing a new member of the Public Health and Harvey family. Master Luke Harvey arrived earlier this summer, and the 3 boys under the age of 5 are keeping her busy. Dr. Nikki Hillier earned tenure this past spring. She is also the new graduate assessment coordinator for the Graduate College. And she and Dr. Joe Bauer from Human Services and Community Leadership have been collaborating since we went remote in March to provide creative solutions for our interns who had some difficulties securing internships because of remote work, etc. And they've put together an exciting interprofessional education opportunity that can also grow into a service for community in the region to provide contract work in our areas of expertise of our students doing work for local and regional agencies that maybe don't have the resources to support an entire internship, but do have tasks that they could use help with. So we're really excited to see how that continues to grow. Dr. Misty Rhodes has been pulling all of her various expertise together and is serving as executive editor of a newly launched peer-reviewed international electronic journal focusing on therapeutic touch modalities. It's being hosted here on campus in Booth Library. She is serving as the executive editor, so there are reviewing opportunities for those of you who have expertise in some of those areas. And I'm sure she would be very happy to supply you with the submission guidelines if you're interested in submitting for publication. Dr. Simons, we all know what Dr. Simons is doing right now. We are pushing her to develop her own podcast under the pseudonym The Masked Epidemiologist. I don't think she's buying into that one yet. But Dr. Sheila is leading the EIU contact tracing team under the auspices of the Public Health Department and is the university liaison with the Public Health Department. Currently she has, or will have by next week, 5 current honors and graduate students, 1 recent alumnus, 2 additional faculty from other departments in the college, and an external person from a community service organization, all serving on the contact tracing team, and just her phone never stops ringing. All 3 of her phones never stop ringing. So we so appreciate the effort and the time this is taking and the incredible opportunity it is for some of our students to have feet on the ground public health experience. So we're ready to have an amazing year and continue to grow with all of these efforts. So I am now happy to pass it over to Rebecca Throneburg from Communication Disorders and Studies.
Hi, thank you. A few things about CDS.
Oh.
What? Let's see if I switched over.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, a few things about CDS in this time. I want to say a big thank you to our faculty. Again, sometimes times of challenges, there's times of learning too. All the CDS faculty teach classes, but they also supervise in our clinic. So when we went to remote learning, our clinic also had to be shut down in the spring. For a while, we couldn't do teletherapy. So as our faculty were, again, putting their classes online, we had to learn how to up our simulated clinical teaching so that our students kept getting their hours and could move towards the 400 clinical hours they needed to graduate. So again, CDS faculty went above and beyond learning simulated case teaching, and then when certification and licensure allowed, we moved into teletherapy late spring and summer. We're really excited to be back to face-to-face clinic this fall with a few of our at-risk clients still getting teletherapy, but that was a heavy lift for many people, and I do appreciate everyone who went above and beyond figuring out simulated clinical therapy and teletherapy in addition to moving classes online. Our internship coordinators have been amazing. Our graduate students have to have medical internships and educational internships to be certified and licensed. And let me tell you, there's been some challenges of getting into medical sites with internships. The number of hours that our internship coordinators have put in, to, call, 50 places per student to get everyone an opportunity. Everyone got an opportunity. Everyone had the opportunity to graduate on time. And I think that is just tremendous. We are excited to welcome a new faculty member, Dr. Laurel Teller, who comes to us from Vanderbilt. She actually taught 1 class this summer online and started supervising some teletherapy. So that is good, and we're excited to have her. We're excited for a new donor-funded classroom in 2411 in Clem, and I think the finishing touches on that classroom are getting put together today and tomorrow, and we're excited to teach there on Monday. That's exciting. And finally, the STEP program for the college students with autism moved next door to Clem, which is very handy. Jill Fay, faculty member from CDS, will be teaching a couple grad classes, but then we'll also be running the STEP program this year, as Rebecca Edgington had an opportunity with a much shorter commute than what she was having. So those are the updates in CDS, and I will give it back to Tony Oliver.
Thank you very much to all of our academic program or unit leaders. And I just also wanted to mention that Dr. Farley says stay tuned for virtual tours of the new nursing facility in the very near future. So we'll look forward to that. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker who will put a cap on our meeting today. Dr. Jeff Stowell has been a faculty member at EIU for over 20 years, so there's no doubt he is true blue EIU. He's been a faculty leader in various capacities, including faculty senate for many years, as well as being the liaison, EIU's liaison with the Higher Learning Commission and that critical relationship with that governing body. Currently, he's a professor and the assistant chair of the psychology department, and we appreciate Dr. Stowell taking some time this morning to talk to us about the qualitative initiative proposal, the QIP, of diversity that was brought to the faculty during this last academic year and approved for infusion integration here on this campus. Thank you, Dr. Stowell, for joining us today.
All right, thank you, and it's a pleasure to be a guest in your college opening meeting this fall. I am the Accreditation Liaison Officer, which has responsibility and oversight for accreditation at the university level, not of individual programs. But let me give you kind of the bigger picture of why we're doing this initiative, and then provide a few details at this point as we look forward to implementing this project over the next 3 to 4 years. So the timeline is that we are in a 10-year cycle of accreditation, and the last reaffirmation of accreditation was in 2015, which launched our next 10-year cycle. And in this new pathway, it's the open pathway, in year 4 of the cycle, we had to submit a comprehensive report, much like we will at the end of the 10-year cycle. We submitted the assurance argument, but no site visit required. That was accepted. And then as kind of a parallel project, it's not necessarily part of the evaluation for our university reaffirmation of accreditation, but it is an essential component, and it's called the Quality Initiative. I'll describe a little bit more of that in a moment, but we submitted that actually it was in July, and probably faster than any response I've ever seen from the Higher Learning Commission, it was approved in August, on the 11th. And so the project is on diversity, diversifying our faculty and staff to increase our student success, particularly our underrepresented student population. We have until year 9 of our accreditation cycle, 2024, to submit a report and an assessment of the project at that point. It does not necessarily have to be completed, but we will have to assess and write about it. And then 2025, we'll have our assurance argument submitted again, along with a site visit. So again, the Higher Learning Commission, which is the accrediting body for the institution, the quality initiative occurs from between years 5 and 9. This is an opportunity for the institution to take a risk and to try something new without, I guess, too much harm, at least in terms of our accreditation. And so this is actually an initiative that encourages freedom to explore new opportunities and initiatives that will benefit the campus community. And as such, the evaluation is primarily based on the genuineness of effort. Did you did you put forth the effort? And even if the outcomes aren't achieved, or you know, you fall short of what you're hoping to achieve, that's okay. And examples of other institutions' quality initiatives are things like, you know, we're going to learn how to better utilize our institutional data, or we're going to improve the assessment of our student learning objectives. And so there's a variety of topics, and we went through a brainstorming process at Eastern last year with a steering committee of about 8 people, in which we sought some input from our campus community. We kind of coalesced some of those ideas into 3 projects that included, for example, a grouping of gen ed courses that would be focused on a service learning component. We had another project that looked at the benefits of learning communities on student retention and success. And the third one was increasing the diversity of our faculty and staff to better represent the distribution of underrepresented groups in our student population. And so we presented those 3 to the campus community early in the spring semester, and received feedback through an online survey of over 100 campus community members. And then the committee brought that to the President's Council, who then made the ultimate decision on which of these 3 projects. And they all had merit. They all had pieces that we might be able to implement at some point in the future. But it was the diversity project that was selected. This slide just shows how it was evaluated in terms of the project's sufficiency, how clear it was, evidence that, you know, our campus is committed to this project, to seeing it through to the end, and having an appropriate timeline within the scope of the HLC. And there were no detrimental comments for our submission. It was accepted very quickly, and I think at a very important time in this institution. So here's the opening statement, basically about the nature of the project, which is to increase student success, and we measure that through metrics such as retention, academic achievement, graduation rates. We know that those are lower for students of underrepresented groups, particularly we're talking about African American students and Hispanic. The ratio, for example, the faculty student ratio at Eastern across the board, as you probably know, is about 13, 14 students per faculty member. To give you an idea of the mismatch for African American student to faculty ratio, it's 57 to 1. And again, we know that our underrepresented groups tend to have lower retention, lower graduation rates. And the research suggests that if students from underrepresented groups can see themselves reflected in people of power and authority, in their faculty, and have mentors that they can match up with, that the student success is improved. And so that's kind of the big picture of the project. In terms of what we're going to do, let me show you the timeline. And again, this is about a 3 to 4 year project, and we're really going to launch into it heavy this fall. And there's 3 phases of this. The first is that we've got to figure out what we're doing now that might help us identify some of the root causes of the disparities that we see. There's going to be a comprehensive review of things such as hiring practices, kind of the climate culture, and again, this is primarily we're trying to boost the representation of underrepresented groups in our faculty and staff. So we'll look at hiring, we'll look at other peers and the models that they use that can increase the retention of these faculty and staff. And so we'll be looking at a lot of data this fall. And then hopefully by the spring semester, we'll have developed a draft of a strategic plan that aligns with the university's mission and commitment to diversity and inclusion. We will be sharing that with the campus community, getting feedback, and then beginning the implementation starting next fall over the next couple years, tracking both student and faculty numbers, some of those metrics, and hopefully, by the, realizing that it's going to take some time before, particularly with hiring of new faculty and improving, the campus climate, it's going to take some time, but we're definitely going to put forward the effort, which will be documented as we assess it along the way. Now, certainly we could not do this without the help of some wonderful people on campus. And we've kind of organized our data collection and maybe strategic planning around 3 practices related to the retention, campus climate for our faculty and staff, the recruitment and networking that goes into the hiring practices, and then again, hiring practices themselves. We have 3 subcommittee chairs, Catherine Polydor, Angela Vieto, and Stacey Elder, who are working with their subcommittee members to gather data starting this fall. Well, they've already started. They're very eager to do this, and I expect that we'll be able to see some tangible results that ultimately will increase our students' success. Now, I don't know if I'm able to get questions, but if you have questions and you're not able to ask them in this meeting, then you can certainly email me. If you'd really want to see the proposal that was accepted, I'm happy to share that. It's only 4 or 5 pages long, so if you have questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to help. I look forward to working potentially with some of you on this project. And thanks, Tony, back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stowell. And your email is jrstowell@eiu.edu, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Based on the format of this meeting, I would certainly encourage any of our college's faculty are interested in getting involved to contact you directly to see how they can do so. At this point, our time is short. I just wanted to add a few additional reminders. First of all, as has been mentioned, the building service workers and the associate deans have prepped classrooms according to CDC guidelines. And so what that means is, at the minimum, each seat, center of one seat to the center of any neighboring seat should be 6 feet in distance. At the front of each classroom, there should be at least 6 feet for instructors, that safe space to maneuver back and forth as they see fit at the front of each classroom. There should be hand sanitizing stations installed in all buildings. President Glassman spoke on the group effort of wearing masks. Signs have been added across all campus facilities. Dean Ersin and myself will be visiting department meetings for our individual Q&A, or you certainly can email me at any time if you have any types of concerns or questions. I want to thank all of you in advance. When we look for colleagues to serve in college committees, when we send the calls out for what each committee might need, I want to thank you in advance for considering to participate in shared governance within the college. Many of you already do so at the university level, at the college level, at the department level, and that helps our college be successful and function effectively, so thank you. I want to remind everyone that we We do have an enthusiastic group of incoming freshmen and transfer students who have arrived on campus, and we have prowl meetings set up across campus tomorrow. They are actually in person and in these COVID prepped spaces. And so thank you in advance if your program director or chair has asked you if you could participate and represent your program at these meetings. I also wanted to mention that the CHHS Redden Grant application deadline is approaching on August 31st. And so more information about our college level Redden Grant process can be found on our college website. I want to thank Philip Kuzma from ITS for producing this event, as well as Michelle Morgan for assisting. I also wanted to thank Nicole Mulvey, the graduate coordinator of CDS, for being prepared and ready to speak for CDS. I'm sorry that a technical glitch got in the way of you being able to do so. Our home base, as you know, is over here in Clem. We've revitalized our Clem Courtyard research project with Paul Switzer, the regional butterfly guy, has beautified the Clem Courtyard, and we definitely want to encourage you to visit us here anytime that you are in the neighborhood. At this point, we wish you well. We wish you health, safety, and happiness during this semester, and we hope it's a great semester for you and your students. And please let us know if there's anything we can do to help you have a successful semester. We look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great afternoon. Thank you for joining us.